The mainstream media paints itself as impartial, fair and balanced, here to give us all the information we need in order to make an educated decision about our lives. And many Americans tune into these news organizations on a daily basis in order to learn about the important happenings of the day. However, we all must stop watching mainstream news. These organizations are massive corporations who are focused on creating a profit first and foremost. They are not here to provide us with truth, but to convince us of whatever point of view is beneficial for the corporations and for the elites who own them, so that we give them what they want: profit. They are purposely manipulating us. Mainstream media are large corporations. For instance, MSNBC is owned by NBC Universal, which is owned by Comcast. So any news story that they push on their news network has to inherently be beneficial for Comcast. The Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos, so they will only say things that are beneficial to Amazon and either demonize or suppress things that are not. The big media corporations do this by selecting topics, emphasis, framing of issues, and filtering information. Again, their purpose is not to inform us, but to increase their profit. This means that critical and objective journalism takes second place to this, that the truth is not as important as their bottom line. Bring this up to any journalists at any of these organizations, and they'll say that we're questioning their journalistic integrity. How dare you, sir? I only seek the truth. I'm sure they mean that. Most people who work in the media internalize these values, likely unconsciously, and thus feel that they are functioning freely. But these organizations are able to ensure to push their agenda either by hiring people who already agree with their point of view or by suppressing those who do not fall into that acceptable spectrum. The elites who control the media are the ones who decide what gets out to the masses and what doesn't. Whenever someone has the nerve to challenge the state of affairs by presenting a dissenting view that is a threat to those in power, they are immediately and ruthlessly marginalized, cast aside, blackballed. Just think of what happens to whistleblowers. When the story is inconvenient for these powerful people, they will do everything in their power to bury it, and to bury whoever had the nerve to step out of line. Those in power cannot allow any threat to the institution they've built. Now, are these all bad people? I don't think so. It's just a dynamic in the way the system is built, since profit is the one and only priority. In this circumstance, the product, the thing that gets them their profit, is us, our attention. This means that they are incentivized to tell us stories that cause an emotional reaction in us, something that makes us stay glued to the screens and keep coming back for the 24-hour news cycle. Advertisers pay top dollar to these organizations because they trust that these corporations will ensure that their ads are seen by a lot of people. The more people watch the show, the more money the advertisers pay them, the more profit they make. The dynamic of needing advertising revenue means that the perception of the world that they give has to be those that satisfy the needs of the advertisers. Otherwise, they will take their money elsewhere, and the news organization loses its revenue. Politically, these organizations don't want someone who will rock the boat too much, as that could hurt their bottom line. That's why mainstream media will incessantly push a safe, corporately approved candidate like Clinton or like Joe Biden, and never someone like Bernie Sanders. Pay attention to how they frame their stories on elections, or how they frame the questions for candidates during debates. How come Bernie Sanders gets the same question about paying for Medicare for all over and over, and nobody asks any of the other candidates how they're going to pay for the bloated military budget or the never-ending bailouts? How come the media lets Joe Biden yell and curse at voters all he wants, but singles out people who make comments online? This creates a narrow, acceptable range of opinions, policies, and candidates by design, where politicians are forced to fit into the neoliberal framework of democracy. Those who don't fit within this framework are not invited onto the mainstream networks, demonized, or forced to change and move towards something that the elites deem as acceptable. The idea that the elites know what's best for the rest of us is not new. However, in a supposedly democratic society such as this one, they can't simply forcefully impose their will on the rest of us. Thus, they attempt to influence what we think so that we'll fall in line willingly. Again, The media don't inform the public so that we can better engage in the political process. They tell us what those in power need them to tell us, so we'll sit down and take it. That's why in every story there's always a boogeyman or a scapegoat to distract us. Terrorists, immigrants, communists, Russia. These are pushed on us to distract us from the truth. The media is designed to seem quote-unquote liberal on purpose, so that anyone who proposes anything that's further left than they do is seen as ridiculous. The progress that we've had is only what they allow us to have. We cannot allow this. Corporations will pay lip service to progressive causes, yet continue to push forward a system of oppression. This is their attempt to create an illusion of moving forward without actually empowering marginalized communities. There are people who own the country, and they are not going to let this country get out of their control if we don't do something about it. It's time to wake up. Should the privileged elites be allowed to dominate media and mass communications and use this power to impose the illusions that they deem necessary to maintain order? Hell no. The freedom of the press is a fundamental part of democracy. They are supposed to be there to show us when the powerful step out of line so that we can do something about it. This is a fight between the oppressors and the oppressed. But when the oppressors own the sources we get all our information from, the rest of us are not even aware that we are being conned. Right now, the media are playing a vital role in keeping the lords in power and the serfs in a state of hypnosis. They know that if they can control what we see and thus control what we think, that we won't ever see the truth and take the power away from them. Asking how to make the media more democratic is like asking how to make corporations more democratic. Corporations own the media, and as the architects of our society, they will keep their hands on the reins by any means necessary. They depend on the idea that most of us will tune out and just ingest whatever information they give us and take it as truth. But in this day and age, we have a choice. A society that is based on this principle of profit over everything will destroy itself in time, as it depends on the idea that the world is an unlimited resource and an unlimited garbage can. The only way to make things more democratic is to get rid of the profit motive and to put the focus back on truth and on people. So support independent news channels online and don't take whatever news story is being presented to you as truth. It is up to us to upend this dynamic and take control of our own destiny, or suffer the consequences. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more. And if you want to learn more, check out the links in the description. Till next time, stay strong and let's keep fighting.